Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another Wuthering Waves reaction. Today we have Astrum Unicum as requested by Keiichi in the comments of the last video, among a plenty of other songs, but I'm just going to start with the first one in that list. They said in that comment that this is from the same part of the game as an unfinished song, which I listened to a few weeks back, so I guess I'll have to revisit that section as we listen to this song, and I guess without further ado, let's go! Oh, okay. I thought I had no audio there for a second. I'm so used to recent songs starting immediately. Ooh. Beautiful start. Ooh. Ooh, interesting note choice there. Huh. A lot more noise right there. That might have just been the introduction of the harp or something. Maybe the recording was just extra noisy there. It almost felt like a wave. Ooh. I was honestly expecting it to ramp up a little more. But no. We're staying reflective. We're staying calm. This is the most contemplative song I've heard in a minute. I've had a lot more energized songs recently. This is kind of a nice change of pace, actually. There's the big release. Okay. The dynamic there. Again, just a wave. Maybe that noise introduced was supposed to, like, lead into that. Or it's just microphone artifacting. Could be either one, but beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. This song is the first one in a while that's made me like really put some thought into how this song is structured, the chord progressions in it, because it sounded so familiar, and there's not any song I'm gonna bring up as a why this sounded so familiar, but the reason it probably sounded familiar is because the song is in the key of D, and it uses some pretty common chord progressions for that, two of the most common especially, those being D, B minor, G, A, and also D, G, A. But the really interesting part to me about this is that in that longer version of the chord progression, that D, B minor, G, A, it changes the G to a G major 7th, which is basically just adding an extra note to a G major. So if you're looking at G major, pretty simple, but then you're also adding in this extra note up here to make it that. So that happens at two very specific points, both of them being like major turning points in the song itself. It's basically this emotional anchor for like, especially during that big swell near the end, that's the chord that it hits. It hits that G major and just rocks on it, and then it continues on with the normal progression, and it just has its usual passage happening there. But allowing that one extra note actually gives you a little bit of a connection back to the D chord, or B minor it may be in this case, where it's like right up there. There's that F sharp again, and it's D, F sharp, B. So it's like right there. And also there is like another variant to this that kind of sounds familiar. You might have recognized it in the song. If I play this, you might recognize what it is. It's a very slight variant. It's basically like moving one finger over. It's right there. It's not necessarily a chord, but it's in there, that dissonance. We heard that, which means he's utilizing this D, F sharp, that would be the B, this is an A. That relationship right there That right there is a perfect fourth, which is its own thing, and as the name would suggest, a perfect relationship with another note. But these two are literally just G flat and G right next to each other, or again, if you want to call it F sharp, you can, but there's that relationship there. All right, I'm inserting this somewhere in the middle of the video because I realized something many hours later that's actually really additionally cool to everything else I was already talking about. So there's a second inversion to the G chord, and it's actually a share with D, and that's right there. You can also count that as a D chord, but then if you just move one finger down, then it becomes that B minor that I was talking about. So like, that could be where this like relationship is coming from that I was hearing in the song. Again, a reminder, I'm not a music theory major in any way, shape, or form. I'm entirely self-taught, and even then, I'm not perfect, so I missed this the first time around, but as I was looking up charts and everything to like make sure you all had the right visuals on screen, I was like, wait, there's inversions to this? And that one's right there in front of my face? So basically, just to make all the music theory heads who may be watching this happy, I wanted to mention that that was there, because that is very much more likely the relationship and source thereof between these two chords that I was talking about. But anyway, back to the me from a couple hours ago. What the point I'm trying to make here is that relationship with the G major 7th and the D slash B minor in there is really what this entire song is rooted around. That D is the key, right? Like that D is literally the key of this song. And then that G major 7th is acting as basically a bridge between every other chord going on in this song. Every single little anchor you find in this song is that G major, and it's gorgeous. So if you're just like a random person listening to this without any music theory knowledge, you're going to be listening to that like, wow, that sounds gorgeous. Why does it sound so perfectly stitched together? Like, why do they sound so well matched, like a match made in heaven? And in this case, maybe a match in the stars. It's very much exactly that. These relationships and these chords, if you're using any key, you're going to have chords within that are going to relate to each other. That's literally the key's job, is to have all of these chords that are relatives of each other within. But by making that G into the G major 7th, you're allowing yourself an extra flexibility to borrow from like different variants of these chords and have them share notes that normally wouldn't be, much like that like dissonant crunch we heard in these two earlier, where like that's in there somewhere, and it's like that shouldn't work, but it works because we have this note here already in relationship with that one. And it's just, it's mwah. And it plays extra hard into like the emotional pressure that the song allows. There's tension in here that gets released. Like that whole song, you may remember from my reaction, where I'm like, where's this song going? I kept feeling like we were trying to reach something, and we didn't until we got to that beautiful G major 7th, and I was like, there it is, just perfect. This visceral core reaction you have listening to music when you, even if you don't know what's going on here, you feel that emotional connection to the music, and you're left wondering, is there more coming? Is there more to happen yet, or are we done? Like, I kept wondering if they were going to leave me hanging, but then they allowed that resolution to happen and allowed that chord to be the connector for everything else around it, that perfect relationship it has with the D and B minor chords, and everything is just so well-fitting around it. There's plenty more to this song. I'm very much simplifying it, even though I may sound like I'm yapping more about music theory than I usually do, because I love this relationship with these chords, and it was handled so beautifully. There is way more stuff in here. There's like an add 9 in there, I think, which is a whole different can of worms I'm not going to get into, but it has a similar job that the major 7th has in this one, where it acts as kind of a bridge to another chord that shouldn't fit traditionally in this known key. So this song has made me yap plenty, and I hope those of you who are nerdy enough out there to appreciate the music theory stuff appreciated how deep I went in on this one. It doesn't always happen, but sometimes songs just speak to me, and I have to yap about them in an extra length. So that's what you got today. If you enjoyed that and you want to request something else from Wuthering Waves, please be my guest and do so. I know I have that huge list from the other commenter that I could easily get to more songs from, but by all means, leave a request down below anyway if you have a specific one you want me to hear. And if you just like this video and you want to see more of these in the future, you know how to follow me and support me and all that. And I will see all of you in the next video. Goodbye!